Let's think about other consequences of survival mode. Definitely, all the waste of our natural resources that we do on this planet here is a consequence of survival mode. If I'm in survival mode, I need to survive now. I need to get my food now. Yeah? I don't think of later. I don't think of, okay, do I need to, keep something for tomorrow? No, I need it now. And that's how we treat the planet. That's how we, dig our mines. That's how we take all the things out of the earth. That's how we can cut down our forests. Yeah, we do a little bit of planting here and there too, but usually look at the rainforest. We just take it. We just take it because we think we need it. Yeah? We need it to survive. That's survival mode. Living mode is much more long-term. Living mode is thinking of tomorrow. Living mode is thinking of the next ones. Living mode has the capacity to give and to share, whereas survival mode has the only capacity to take. That's what we're doing today. And you know what? Just a few people on this planet have begun with that. But there are many, many, many more that are already there that also want to start taking, and they're doing it. And it's their right, of course, because everyone has the right to survive here. It's very understandable that everybody wants to survive here. So just transplant our survival mode to all of us. Do you think really that we will make it that way? Survival mode, of course, does not think of all the next generations because they are too far away. Even your kids are too far away if you are hungry right now. Living mode includes them, takes care of them, because living mode, again, is abundance, whereas survival mode is always scarcity. The kind of capitalism that we live on this planet, wherever it's lived, is an aspect, at least in my opinion, of survival mode. Yeah? Me first. I want to be the first. I want to win. I want to be the richest. What does that mean? That means I want to be the best in securing my survival and kind of being in living mode, if that's even possible. I don't know if sitting on your big boat all day long is living mode, but probably for most people or many people it is. For other people, I'm not sure if it really is. Another aspect of survival mode is the kind of capitalism that we live on this planet. Yeah? The turbo capitalism, me first, then you. Yeah? I want to be first, I want to win, I want to be the richest. To me, that's an aspect of scarcity most, yeah? And therefore an aspect of survival mode. Because living mode, do you want to be first with your best friend all the time? Do you want to take advantage of your best friend all the time? And for me, a good friendship. Yeah? Take your best friend. Yeah? That's a perfect example of living mode. And many, many habits that you see in big capitalism, you would never ever apply on your good friendship. I remember, for example, there was a few years ago, there was the run for decoding the genome, the human genetic code. And I remember, I don't know the names anymore, but I remember there were two institutes racing for who was first. First in decoding the DNA, the human DNA. And there was one institute that won the race. Oh, how exciting! This institute was 1 week earlier or 2 weeks earlier than the other institute. Cool! It's like a sports event. But look at the backside. There were two institutes doing the same work at the same time, spending the same amount of money, spending the same amount of time, just that one of them got there first. Why didn't they work together? Why didn't they save half the money and half the time and be done with the job in half the time and getting, getting the success, all of them, not just half of them? For me, that's a good example of the difference of survival mode, racing against each other all the time, whether it makes sense or not, just because our societies support that mode, Whereas working together, getting there much, much faster and much, much cheaper. And, you know, having the applause for all of them who participated. Not just for half of them and, haha, look at the others, they didn't make it in time. They were as good as the others, just 2 weeks slower. Ridiculous, isn't it? Another aspect of survival mode is when you look into agriculture. We are so many right now, and we have built up such an industrialized agriculture, that I think that has nothing to do with living mode at all. There's a wonderful movie that is called Tomorrow. You can find it in our text below. I recommend it there. It's an incredibly good movie, where you can see aspects where people try to get into living mode from where we are today. And there are 3 aspects which I find is really interesting about our agriculture. They say, and watch the movie, they can argue that much better than I can. They say, first of all, our industrialized agriculture is incredibly good in making money and incredibly bad in making food, relative to the area, you know, they use. At an area where industrialized agriculture produces food, a small farm produces much, much more at the same space. Because they don't have huge machines that, of course, you know, plant all the plants in a different way. They maybe do it with their hands in a smaller way and with different tools, so they can produce much, much more, be much more efficient, so to say. For example, there's a farm in that movie, there's the example of a farm that is 3,000 square meters. That's a little bigger garden. That's not a farm, it's a little bigger garden. And they can produce food for 30,000 euros a year. That's nearly impossible on big scale. You need hectares and hectares of land for that amount of revenue. Why? Because they do it in a permaculture way, they do it in a togetherness way. Watch the movie Tomorrow. There you can see it. They do it so that the plants support each other, they grow with each other. Their whole system of farming is a living mode farming, if you want. It's not a competitive farming. We need to destroy all these herbs and all these plants so that these few can grow. By the way, we destroy all the bugs and all the critters, and by the way, we destroy all the little animals. No. It's an idea of how does nature work together to produce the most beautiful and the most nourishing results. It's a different way of approaching agriculture. Another sideways of having the survival mode in our industrial agriculture as we have it is that farmers, you know, a job that usually involved pride, that involved taking care of your land. You were somewhere, if you were a farmer, you could provide for your family, you could provide, you know, a little bit for your village. Nowadays in big industrialized agriculture, you're a land worker. You sit on your tractor and you're paid per hour minimum wage. No honor involved at all. You're a worker like all the other workers too. No pride. No I am. That's a shame. That's a little desperate, in my opinion. Look around in your world. Apply these 2 systems, living mode or survival mode. Survival mode versus living mode. Look around. Where do you find survival mode, habits of survival mode? How could that be changed into living mode? What's needed for being together in living mode? I wonder, and I'm thinking a lot about that, and maybe you also want to think about it. I would love to hear some examples for more living mode in our societies, on our planet. If you like, please write it in the comments. Write it down so we can maybe pick it up, maybe make another video with it. Because I think the world needs examples for living mode. Because you know what? Surviving mode, we know by heart. We have done that forever. Here, if I say we, I mean the classic all European American cultures, the developed cultures that we think we are. Technologically maybe. Send us your ideas. of living mode. On a small scale, in friendships, in families, and on the bigger scales, in towns, in villages, in cities, in societies, in countries, and on this planet. Because I think, honestly, that's what's needed. That's how we need to go on. That's our chance to go on. In survival mode, I don't see too many chances. Not for my grandchildren, at least. Yeah, the cynical say, we will make it a little bit more. Yeah, you know, I will probably not, you know, suffocate to death because all the air is so polluted. Yeah, in my next 30, 40 years, I might make it. But even saying that, I think that's incredibly cynical, because I am a father and might be a grandfather. And that's incredibly cynical to even think that way, that I can still make it. Yeah? Not to think about the next generations. No good father would ever think that way. Look out there. How many think that way?